Well, good afternoon, everyone. It looks like the chances are pretty good. This is the last week we're here. When the House sends over the CR, it's my understanding the Majority Leader will bring it up and it will not be open for amendments. It's my intention to support the CR, particularly like the fact that the Syria authorizing legislation sunsets with the expiration of the CR or the passage of the defense authorization bill. What's good about that is, even though, again, speaking for myself, I support what the President's doing, I'd like to take another look at it a couple of months from now and see how it's working out, and that would give the Congress an opportunity to revisit that issue later this year. I also think the Ebola funding is important. I think what the administration is doing is correct, and therefore I'll be voting for the continuing resolution, assuming it comes over as we think it is from the House.
Senator Reid has decided that the only thing we're going to be doing in the Senate between now and the election 49 days from now is to pass a bill that funds the government, trains Syrian rebels, and fights Ebola. The fact of the matter is there are 385 bills, the vast majority of which have strong bipartisan support, that have passed the House of Representatives that are dead on arrival in the United States Senate. So if under Harry Reid the Senate's going to do nothing, we might as well leave town after we vote on the continuing resolution this week, because it's clear that he intends for us to do nothing else. And it's no wonder that the Congress's approval rating is at 14%, because the Senate has become the killing field for good bipartisan pieces of legislation. I mentioned 385 bills that passed the House. 40 of them have been jobs-related bills that Senator Reid's refused to even take up. So going forward, I hope that if after November the 4th we have new management in the United States Senate, we'll be able to take up good common sense legislation that will help deal with security, job security, national security, health care security. Those are the things that I hear from my constituents that they want Congress to roll up its sleeves and get to work on. But it's obvious that after this last couple of years, even longer, under the current Majority Leader, that's not going to happen. So the only way it will happen is with a change in management on November the 4th.
And to put a fine point on what Senator Cornyn said, poll after poll shows that the economy is the #1 issue for people in this country, and the political battleground poll from yesterday confirmed that. It is the #1 concern. People are not happy with the economy and how it's going, and they blame the President for it. But it's not just the President that has turned a cold shoulder to middle-class families in this country. It's Democrats in the United States Senate. Senator Cornyn mentioned there are 385 bills that are languishing here in the United States Senate that the Majority Leader could take up and act on at any time, 40 of which deal specifically with job creation. And one of those bills is the Keystone Pipeline. And interestingly enough, this Friday will mark the 6th anniversary now of the application for the Keystone Pipeline. That's 6 years now the Democrats have been blocking that. That's 6 years of job creation that's been lost for the American people. So I think as we leave this place, and as the leader mentioned, it looks like now we're just going to complete action on the continuing resolution. I don't think the contrast could be more clear. Republicans here in the United States Senate want to create jobs for the American people. Democrats in the United States Senate want to save their own jobs.
And to that point, what we see is the Senate Majority Leader essentially shut down the Senate from the beginning of August until Election Day, 3 months. We're only in session for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in session of 3 months, at a time when unemployment rates are high, people are looking for jobs, health care costs continue to go up, people are concerned about energy costs, all of the issues that affect the American people, and Senator Reid doesn't seem to care. He wants his candidates out there running for office, raising money. It is outrageous. My question is, where is the accountability? Taxpayer dollars are being wasted every day as Senator Reid refuses to address the major issues facing our country because he's more concerned about saving his own job than the jobs of millions of Americans.
Senator McConnell,
Jeff.
with about 6 weeks to go before the midterm election day, you're all just coming from a briefing of the Senatorial Committee. What is your assessment of where your party is right now in its effort to win back control of the Senate?
Well, I think the races are yet to be won. Our friends on the other side are tough competitors. You all are familiar with the landscape. We have 7 pickup opportunities in states that Mitt Romney carried: West Virginia, North Carolina, Louisiana, Arkansas, South Dakota, Alaska, and Montana. We have very competitive races in 5 purple states: New Hampshire, Virginia, Michigan, Iowa, and Colorado. We have 2 really terrific candidates in a couple of blue states, Minnesota and Oregon. We're hoping to have a really good year. We're hoping the American people will agree with us that it might be time to try something different after 6 years in a row of the same old thing. Well, I'm not going to lay out what the agenda is going to be if, in fact, we become the majority. We're still hoping the American people will conclude that they'd like to go in a different direction. And really, there's only one thing that can be done in 2014 to begin to take America in a different direction, and that's to change the Senate. So the American people have to speak first. And I think there are a number of things that we would like to do differently. You heard the Keystone Pipeline mentioned. That's a good example. Repealing the medical device tax, something that enjoys overwhelming bipartisan support. Those are the kinds of things that we've not been able to vote on in the Senate for years that the American people might like us to address.
On the lame duck, some Democrats have been mulling a strategy of attaching the anti-inversion legislation to the extenders package. Do you guys, would you be opposed to that?
To add what to the extended?
Anti-inversion legislation?
Yeah. I think we have to get to the lame duck before we decide, what's possible. I think there's almost no likelihood the House will become Democratic. So I personally am not fearful that bad things will be done to the country during the lame duck, because I think the House will prevent that. So hopefully we can agree to do some things together that need addressing. The extender package, I think, is one of them. And we'll talk about how to put that together once we get the election behind us and are talking about what we're going to do for the balance of the year. Thanks a lot, everybody.